Hey, 1 Kings 8 and verse 22 through to 26. King Solomon has just finished the temple, the famous Temple of Solomon, and he's dedicating it. And he's having a prayer time and a celebration time, and he prays this. Then Solomon stood before the altar of the Lord in the presence of all the assembly of Israel, and spread out his hands toward heaven. He said, O Lord, the God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven above or on earth beneath, keeping covenant and showing loving kindness to your servants, who walk before you with all their heart, who have kept with your servant, my father David, that which you have promised him. Indeed, you have spoken with your mouth and have fulfilled it with your hand, as it is this day. Now therefore, O Lord, the God of Israel, keep with your servant David my father that which you have promised him, saying, You shall not lack a man to sit on the throne of Israel. If only your sons take heed to their way to walk before me as you have walked. Now therefore, O God of Israel, let your word, I pray, be confirmed, which you have spoken to your servant, my father David. Earlier, King David wanted to build the house that Solomon built. He said to Nathan the prophet, I want to build a house. And Nathan says, what a great idea. Let's get the Ark of the Covenant out of, the tent and into a proper abode. And then Nathan comes back the next day and he says to David, it's not going to happen. And what David receives from God is phenomenal. God says to David, no, you're not going to build me a house. But I tell you what I will do, David. I will build you a house. You're not going to build me a house. I'm going to build a house for you. Or in other words, I'm going to build a house out of you. That meant that David would be the father of kings of God's people for all time, forever. And we know this came true in Jesus, who is the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Judah gave birth eventually to King David. David eventually became the ancestor of Jesus, Mary and Joseph and then Jesus. So today we have this king. He's the king forever. Jesus is the king forever. God kept his promise. That's what God does. He keeps his promises, even though Solomon walked away. God still kept his side of the bargain. And that's the way God is, isn't he? In the next one, I've got a song called Covenant Keeper, and I want to share it with you. Thanks.